Yes, we are in our last session, the 25th session. And before we start, can I invite you any questions on Law 42 that we have done the other day? Law 42 or anything from Law 41. If there are any questions you think, yes?
Mr. Singh, I had a question.
Yes, yes, tell me.
I remember you said, I think last session that you stopped Harry from bowling.
Pardon?
You stopped Harry from bowling because you thought that he was
Yes,
bowling some dangerous balls.
yes, yes.
Now, um,
I didn't stop him. I didn't stop him, but I certainly gave him a warning and I would have stopped him ultimately. Yes,
right, but if someone is okay, if someone is not bowling over the shoulder
yes,
consistently,
yes,
isn't it difficult to judge what is dangerous? Because you expect, unless the batsman is the lower order number 11, or not really number 11, but the less skilled.
yes.
If someone is highly skilled, or even the medium, even I mean at the current, the way the
Yes,
cricket is going currently,
yes.
isn't it next to impossible to judge someone is bowling dangerous unless he is bowling above the shoulder?
No, above the shoulder is what two things here. One is that you have to make a judgment call on his skills. His number in the batting order is not what matters. Sometimes there can be a very proficient number seven also, and equally not able to deal with the short balls. Who may be maybe he has come in at number three also. It can happen. So when there are, though generally the more skilled batters are higher up, that is the general trend, but it is not necessarily so. So they do not therefore tell you what number batter he should be. They tell you on the day, at the time, you have to judge his skills. All right. That is one more thing. One thing. Uh, Besides that, the laws say, the ICC regulations and BCCI regulations say, and I told you to check up in your local regulations. I am referring to these two regulations because Shubhada was umpires that level and all, and I'm sure Shwetab umpires and Sharik umpires matches where those regulations are applied, and where check on in your playing conditions whether the see the two balls above the shoulder does not replace the original law. It does not replace the original law. Even at my time, it did not. In my time, there used to be in the playing conditions just a statement that there is, despite what is said here, because playing conditions and laws were separate documents which we had to put together. Today, what they are doing is they are putting the laws in the playing conditions. So you, the umpire, reads only one document. What they have done with the present document is that they have stated law 46 as per the laws. And at 462, 4162, they have said that we'll allow two short pitch bowlers deliveries in the over, defining them as being above the shoulder. And right in the beginning, they say that notwithstanding what we have told you, one, two, notwithstanding that regulation, where again the procedure is also given in 4.6, 41.6.2, another procedure is given. But here they have very specifically stated in the first statement, notwithstanding 441.6.2, the following shall apply. And with not a single ball, and it doesn't define it by height, except that it is a short ball. Yes, height will be a consideration. In normal cricket, you will protect the person from getting injured. It will have to be above the waist height. Getting injured, I will say even I will allow in this case even the leeway of those 4 inches. The bowler will be required to bowl. Say, if he bowls at the rib cage and the head of the batter, it is I can consider it dangerous. considering taking into account other aspects, the skill of the batter and also the direction of the delivery. Any wayward delivery is not dangerous, even though it may be fast and fierce or whatever. But if I find he is competently dealing with it, I'll take my time in deciding whether I should now protect him. Does he require protection? Is he likely to be injured? Not that I am going out of the way to offer him protection, but is he likely to be injured? The law says you have to look after that aspect. That if the bowling is such that he is likely to inflict injury on the batter. Now, inflict injury, anything below the rib cage, I won't bother with it because the soft areas, thighs, and players are always being hit on the thigh and the knees and all that. So that we never take action. It is the rib cage and the head of the striker, which we have to take into account for this purpose, as far as the law is concerned. And both laws, I specifically wanted to point out that both these laws go together. They go together. Even in the ICC regulations, even in this. 41.6.2 is given and 41.6.1 says, despite what we have given here, this applies. So both have to work in tandem. So I just showed you how they work in tandem. You can still take a bowler off without a single ball going over the shoulder. A single ball over the shoulder for dangerous bowling. For dangerous bowling. You must look up your, if you're not doing ICC regulations, you're not doing ICC BCCI regulations. So therefore, I ask you to look up your regulations, what they say. And the 1-2 above the shoulder does not replace the original law. That is how they have done it. During our time, there was only one statement. Now they have amalgamated. You'll see that they have brought actually placed the law there. They have not removed it. The present law is still there. They said you have to apply that also. All right. Yes. A lot of umpires, I think, perhaps miss this. You know, I have not been interacting with the BCCI umpires lately, but then I'm sure there are a lot of umpires who miss this. Yes, George, you were saying something.
Now, I was saying, I mean, I would say one has to be very careful because, like, it can happen that you have a less skilled batsman at the crease. Probably he could be a last batsman standing. He's trying to win the game. At the same
No,
time, you
no,
have a bowler.
that regardless of how he might have played previously, or you have to look at his general ability to fend off those deliveries. If you think he's going to get hurt, you step in. This applies across the board. There is no restriction that, but then if you see he's competently dealing with it, then you will not intervene. That most certainly you will not. But then if you find him, he is not able to do it, and on that particular day that he is not able to do it, or he is not, getting hit in the chest a couple of times and all that, you have to step in. And that too, regardless of whether or not he is wearing a chest guard or a helmet, he is hit on the helmet. So don't wait for him to get injured. So the law empowers you to take action in that case also, in all cases. That the in fact the other law, uh, two over the shoulder, has nothing to do with the competence of the batsman, the striker. Nothing to do with it. Just one thing that above this height it is gone, standing erect, one, then two, and third time no ball. He is given two more opportunities, then he is removed. One more opportunity and he is removed. It has nothing to do in judgment, no judgment involved on the part of the umpire at all. In fact, the laws of cricket ask you to judge whether or not he is likely to be injured and then step in. If you do, step in. You must, how you judge it will depend on you, but know for sure that you are empowered to do it. Know for sure that you are empowered to do it. That you must know and appreciate. You must know that. You may or may not apply it because you think he's competent. Good enough. I might think he's not competent. You might think he's competent to fend off. But remember, know the law that you can do it. Can't do it. Therefore, I ask you to check your playing conditions, whether that 1-2 thing replaces original law, or they say in your playing conditions, like they say in the ICC and the BCCI, whether they say uh, that it is. uh, both are applicable. Notwithstanding 41.6.2, this will apply. Notwithstanding what is there. So that means both will apply simultaneously. Both will apply. Umpires, if they think that it is dangerous, they have to apply this law. And I'll tell you something interesting if you are interested in comparing documents. I compared uh, men's playing regulations, ODI and T20. What I found to my utter surprise that there is a misnumbering in T20 and ODI in the playing conditions, BCCI playing ICC playing conditions. There is a misnumbering of this 46. It is a normal error, computer error. It seems they have not spotted it unless they have corrected it now. I'll download again and see unless they have corrected it now. 41.6.2 is a different thing altogether in the other two documents, whereas 41.6.2 clearly refers in the multi-day matches, it clearly refers to two above the shoulder, which is the correct position. And in the other two documents, it has got misnumbered. I have written to the ICC telling them this, and I know when I even told them when you have made this mistake and it has been carried through. Earlier, everything was fine. Then somewhere you started making this mistake. It is a basic MS Word mistake, which nobody seemed to have spotted. Today, the ODI being played is has that problem there. I didn't see. I don't remember about the World Cup rules. I'll have to check in the World Cup rules uh, what it actually says. Give me a second. It might be interesting to have a look at that since we are on the subject. But when I returned to the ICC over a month ago, they have not even acknowledged it. I spoke to them on the telephone to uh, ask who will be dealing with it. Bola, she said you send your mail to the generic ID and it will go to the concerned person. I said, that's fine, then I'll do that. But nothing has come after that. I sent a reminder that I be shown the courtesy of a reply, but they haven't bothered to Cricket World Cup 23 playing conditions. See, 41.6.2 is something different, a massive renumbering problem. Uh, and notwithstanding clause 41.6.2, this is there. But 41.6.2 is entirely a different thing altogether. Yeah, this is what should have been. This should have been 41.6.2. You look up the test match conditions. There is a MS Word issue. The renumbering. This should be 41.6.2. Otherwise, looking at 41.62, it makes no sense at all. It makes no sense if this is the 41.6.2. It makes no sense at all. With this as 41.6.2, it makes the sense that we are looking for, this one. A bowler shall be limited to this. This thing, MS Word dream numbering has occurred. Even in this Cricket World Cup, this is being played. And I don't know what elite panel umpires are doing about it. What are they doing now? Test match, if you compare the two documents, T20 also has the same problem. That the numbering is an issue. Numbering is an issue. It is a mere technical error to be corrected. But I don't know if they have done it after they received my email. I don't know. So that is interesting. The BCCI has got it correct in all formats. I checked those. They have got it correct in all formats. That error hasn't occurred. Now, somewhere the error occurred in these two documents, ODI and T20 of the ICC. Either it has nobody has noticed it, and or nobody realizes that that error has occurred. It's like that. Written to them, but they haven't replied. Okay. Any more questions on what we have done? 41, 42, something like anything else that I can touch upon? Yes. So, shall I go on with this presentation that I intend to make? I had prepared this presentation. What the original presentation was in the early 20s, 2000, first decade, and much has changed after that. But really, much hasn't changed after that. The basics remain the same; they don't change. Whatever else technology has brought in, or whatever umpiring technique and the principles of cricket umpiring, they don't change. They haven't changed from the time of Mr. Mamsa's time, Ruben's time, the umpires who the 40s and 50s and 60s and all that, that they used to umpire. Those basics will remain the same. Uh, During my time also these basics apply. During our this time also these basics will apply. So that is why I say it is relevant. Now I started this the cricket umpire, and this is what it was, and it deals with who he is, his character, his health and fitness, his knowledge, his training, his performance, and the art and technique and the art and technique of umpiring. Give me a second. I'll just put it in a window, or shall I do it this way instead of full screen? All right. Oh, this goes to the full screen by default. Okay. These are the subjects that I have touched, and who is an umpire, the qualities of a good umpire, qualities of an umpire is eyesight, hearing, physical fitness, match day, uh, inner person, the knowledge, dress and equipment, the concentration and focus, wrong decisions, how to handle wrong decisions, how to handle criticism, teamwork with umpires, duties of an umpire, positioning and movement, and calling and signaling. These are the subjects that I have touched here. Now, who is an umpire? The meaning from a dictionary is that one who has authority to decide finally a controversy or question between parties, one appointed to decide between arbitrators who have disagreed, uh, an impartial third party chosen to arbitrate disputes arising from the terms of a labor agreement, a military officer who evaluates maneuvers, an official in a sport who rules on play. The last one is what concerns us. The origins of the word is umpire is derived from umpire, said to be derived from the French word umpire, which means that a man without equal. It means man without peer or a man without equal. Thus, on the field of play, the umpire's word umpires is the final word. Since the derivation of the word umpire is so exalted, it would be reasonable to expect that each umpire to always act in a manner deserving of such an exalted and revered position. To always be a man without equal, you have to measure up to that standard. This is something every umpire entering into the field of umpiring should know. His duty to the game, what he owes to the game, and just like he expects the players to remember about the spirit and the game, he also should not contribute in any way to bring disrepute to the game. This is an important part of it. Umpire Mamsa used to always say, "Keep the coat, white coat clean," he would say. But then the white coat is long gone, but the principle remains. The principle remains. Like I was saying, while the white coat has almost entirely disappeared, the term hasn't lost its meaning, at least so far. It means always act in a manner that will not damage the image and character and integrity of an umpire. My concern is not merely with you. Remember that you carry with yourself in every game the image of an entire umpiring fraternity. This applies to both off and on and off the field. And when you go abroad, especially that and you're carrying the badge, an Indian umpire or a British umpire or a Canadian umpire or whatever, and then you must be aware of the fact that your conduct must be befitting that position. All right. From the laws of the game, you will see that an umpire is an official. He is fair to both parties. He makes all decisions on the field. His word is absolutely final. Now, he's deemed as a facilitator, and he's not a schoolmaster, is something that you must remember. You have got uh, untrammeled power, but then you have to remember that it has to be used judiciously. It has to be used judiciously and impartially. That is what you want. You can't be a tyrant on the field of play. So never, tyrant is far enough, far or too far, but then don't even act like a schoolmaster as one would be inclined to. When power comes to you, you might try to dominate. It won't be liked. It won't be liked. The umpire must not be officious. Most of these things you really know. He can exercise authority without being officious. He's there to not to make things happen, but to oversee and supervise the happening. Let us accept that our role is secondary to the players. We have a very strong position there, but then our role is always secondary to the players, and we should aim to exercising authority, see that we conduct the game as per the laws of the game, and we are, so to say, the first officers of the law, the first officers of the law. Now, what qualities does a good umpire possess? I found that I was able to put together at that time, one can always add to it, the nine C's which I thought were appropriate, like consistency. You have to be consistent in your decisions and in behavior. You have to be consistent. Players will expect that you will deal with both sides even-handedly, and even in your decision making and your behavior, you will be even-handed. That is what is very important for you, and will lead to your success as an umpire. Concentration. Now, concentration is the absolute cornerstone of good umpiring. If you are unable to focus and concentrate on the game over long periods, you will not make a good umpire because you will make mistakes. If you cannot, your concentration is wavering, you will make mistakes. Control over oneself and over the game. It is necessary for you. You're there to control the game and see that the rules are followed. And of course, you have to have a measure of self-control. That is very important. There will be difficult situations which you might come across where self-control is important. Self-control is important. You have to have act with self-control. Confidence. Now, remember that your confidence should be apparent in your every action on the field, including signaling. It should be, you should come across as a confident person. It is very important that you do that and work towards that. And I might even tell you that basically, I think that point will be mentioned later on. Basically, everybody is a person, is a bundle of doubts. Everybody. The biggest cricketer, when he goes into a big game, he has in his mind certain doubts. But then over everything, he has to display confidence. So also with umpires, you may have butterflies in your stomach when you step out for an important game or an important game is approaching. But you have to learn to deal with it. At least appear confident, and you will survive. Your every action, including signaling, should be confident. Uh, you have judged many times. It so happens that you might have judged. You're not sure whether it is a leg by or a gone off the bat or whatever. But you confidently signal what you think it is. Leg by, confidently signal it. And the guy watching will have some doubts in his own mind. Just go ahead and do it confidently, is what I say. Any cricketer will tell you that confidence is half the battle. You must do everything possible to increase your confidence. A smart turnout is conducive to confidence and self-assurance. To my mind, a tie is essential where it used to be, no longer it is, because nowadays umpires will wear anything that the organizers give them. So tie is now ruled out. Okay. Confidence again comes also from complete knowledge of the laws and rules. If you are confident about your knowledge, there's nothing really can shake you. Nothing really can shake you. All right. The game is the kind of game we play. It throws up varied situations, different situations from game to game. And if you have complete knowledge about the laws and the rules under which you are playing, you have nothing to worry about. Your confidence comes from that basic knowledge. That is why we are sitting here and trying to acquire that knowledge. Conduct. Most intelligent skippers will watch the umpires conduct both on and off the field. Always, this is always so. And whenever you go out, you're on a tour or something, and multi-day match, you'll be sharing the same hotel as the players, perhaps, and you'll come across them either in the bar or at dinner or whatever. But and they will be everybody really watches you. Everybody really, even when you're there on the field of play the previous day and all that, everybody is watching you. They have never seen you before, so they are trying to assess you. You might say that
Let's so quickly
a
go
book is
to the
not judged by the
20s
cover,
and
but
run away
actually
from
it
you.
is
So this
in
is an
life and
excellent
also
partnership
on the
for
cricket field.
Australia.
When you first step out, you will find.
I was a bit surprised when Inglis initially got his
One
opportunity
second, one
after the
second.
first game. Kerry missed out with the bat, got dropped after that first game against India,
Hello.
and I'd always heard big raps on Inglis, but I hadn't actually seen much of him bat.
Oh, this thing has got started. I was. In case there is anything to say, let it not be a monologue. I wouldn't want it to be a monologue. In case there is something that you would want to ask me in between, you're more than welcome. Because I cannot see the screen. This goes into full screen immediately. So I'm not able to see any response from you guys. Okay. So let it not be a monologue. All right. The most intelligent captains will skippers will watch the umpires conduct both on and off the field. The position of the umpire has always been of one of dignity, responsibility, which you must strive to always maintain by good conduct. And overbearing behavior is resented, firmness is always appreciated. There can be a very thin dividing line between firmness. You should come across as somebody fair rather than overbearing. Now, I remember here I can give you an example that I was umpire. There was an Arlem Trophy being played in Goa under Vijay Chaugule. Arlem Trophy. He used to invite teams from initially from Bombay, very good teams. The top teams in Bombay used to go there and play a tournament over 1 week. And after that, of course, teams from various other places, Chennai, Delhi, and all that, Indian Airlines and all used to join. And in the first season, he had invited two test umpires from Bombay to invited them to come and umpire. And year two and thereafter for about 5, 6 years, I was regularly called there. Now, what had happened was one of the test umpires who was there, uh, he had this habit of everything was on the house there. All food and drinks and all beer used to be in the hotel room, where you had coupons to give, and the hotel would be given charges, cooling charges. But for you, the beer and all had to be would be free. When we had parties there during the matches, and we used to have fun playing cricket there. Nowadays, people, I doubt if our modern day cricketers really have fun while playing. So there was a time of Ashok Mankad and all these chaps, Dilip and everything really. That generation of players used to enjoy the game more than the present generation perhaps does. You hardly see that enjoyment on their faces. And so we used to have parties in the evening and all that. Drinks used to flow like water. Food was good. And that was one tournament where, umpires were treated at a particular level, where generally umpires are second-rate citizens, but not so in this with Vijay Chogule. And before me, and what that particular umpire did was, he was dropped from the second season onward. Why? Because he would eat, nothing but king prawn, nothing but king prawns. And not only that, when he went away, went back home, he even packed a few bottles of beer from the hotel and took them home with him. Now, this kind of things people don't appreciate. These things I came to know later. And one of the things that Vijay Chogule was asked, and he responded, "How do you choose your umpire?" So it was before me, in front of me. He said, I look for people with whom we can get along both on the field and off the field." So the point of the story is that they look for these things, certain qualities in the people that they invite, and the umpire who's umpiring. It doesn't have to be merely on the field of play. I umpired there for 6, 7 years. Then I was job transferred to UP, and there I had dropped. Even then, they had called me once, but I couldn't go. I had to a one-day international intervening India versus Sri Lanka. I couldn't go. But he did me the ultimate honor of what, when he held the 25th fifth version of Arlem, though there was a break in between, when it was 25 years, he invited me and my wife to that. Some very special people were invited. So it is that kind of thing that you should always be aiming to earn, that kind of respect that you must always be earning to earn as an umpire. And it is difficult to earn that kind of respect. And it is also very easy to lose that kind of respect. You can imagine the position of that particular test umpire who lost that regard that people would have for his somebody in his position. He lost it in just one session. He lost it, and after that he was never invited, though he tried his utmost to get invited back to Arlem Trophy. The point of the story I'm telling you is, conduct yourself well. They look at you, they see how you behave. They want you to be also a good human being. Is that now cooperation? Going on with our 9 C's, cooperation with colleagues and with players. You have to be cooperative with the players. They appreciate it that you are cooperative. You are uh, one with their problems that may be there, but you can't go beyond a certain point. And certainly, you have to give your colleague your fullest cooperation, because he is part of your team. You two are one team, and uh, at times when things go wrong, he is perhaps your only friend on the field of play. So you need support, and the same support you need, that you must be also be always ready to give. All right. You should never be interested in scoring points over your colleague. If some player may ask you, what do you think about that decision? I felt it was too high. All that you shouldn't indulge in. Remember, there will be occasions when he is your only friend on the ground, and you must always try to be that friend too. You never know when you will need his support. Things can go wrong for you also. As regards players, be friendly, be cooperative, be polite. Politeness begets politeness. Cooperation will beget cooperation. And I have never hesitated to use the word please. My orders were also, uh, please don't do that. Let's not have any more shouting, please. I mean, the word please can soften things, but at the same time, you will also be firm about what you're saying. It has to be firm. It should go across to them that no, I'm not going to be fiddled with. But please doesn't reduce your authority. There is absolutely no need for you to bend over backwards as far as players are concerned. That distance has to be maintained, and they must appreciate that beyond a certain thing, you will not. Uh, there is one more thing that I do always say, that you have extreme authority. You have extreme authority. Authority must be used softly. It is possible to use authority softly. You don't have to be rough about it. There is no denying the laws of cricket give you absolute authority. There is no denying that you have absolute authority. But You can still deal with it softly. Use that authority of yours softly. All right, collectedness, the ability to deal with difficult situations with absolute calmness. You will see that once you keep yourself calm, you are able to deal with any situation that might present itself. And believe me, the game does present is quite capable of presenting different situations and challenging situations uh, from time to time. And you have to deal with them calmly and without fuss, without getting flustered. All right. The acid test is everyone can count 6 balls. The mettle of an umpire is tested when he has to face the difficult situations that the game of cricket can throw up. That is where he is really tested. Otherwise, everything is going fine. And I mentioned to you utmost courtesy to all that you deal with. You can deal as effectively with all sorts of situations and player behavior with politeness. There is nothing wrong in using the word. It doesn't undermine your authority and common sense. A trait, unfortunately, not too common. But remember, this comes with a warning. While a common sense approach to the laws and game situations is recommended, applying common sense should not result in an action contrary to the stated law. A lot of people I have come across, they will give me a solution to a particular problem. Oh, common sense, it is common sense that, no, but it is against the law. What you are trying to say is against the law. And it should never be, you can apply something with common sense and maybe not apply it or whatever, but then it cannot be contrary to the law. There can be many situations people tell me, oh, common sense dictate, like for instance, I have had responses on chat groups about that matter I told you, less than 3 minutes to lunch and a wicket falls. Less than 3 minutes to lunch, a wicket falls. Many people told me they will go in for lunch. Many people. It is common sense. It is to be readily understood, but it is against the law. It is against the law. In fact, common sense dictates that you should not deprive the fielding side of a possible wicket before the interval. Your common sense should say that. And unfortunately, the common sense of one person differs from the common sense of the other person. So it is quite a variable kind of thing. The stated law doesn't vary. Doesn't vary. Then after finishing the 9 C's, which I thought worth mentioning, these are the things that if you have been umpiring for quite a long time, it is teamwork, study, accountability, loyalty, sacrifice, decision making. There are These are all skills that make for a good life, not merely a good umpire. They make you a good spouse, a good employee, a good parent, and a good friend. So it is not really something you are perhaps following this in your life, all of these things your in your own life. Now, about the qualifications of a good umpire, he needs to concentrate for long hours, spends long hours on the field in varying weather conditions, mostly standing. His job requires him to bend, walk, straighten, and move off with his position smartly and stop quickly. He requires good eyesight and hearing, physical fitness, a certain amount of physical fitness. He doesn't have to be a Pelwan. And the inner person, what kind of a person should he be? These are things that are physical, but then the inner person also is important. And then finally, the knowledge of the laws. Finally, the knowledge of the laws. Good eyesight and hearing. Now, for umpires, I suggest that you visit a professional at least once a year and have any small problems eliminated. Eyes tested periodically preferably before the start of each season. 6 by 6 vision is what is required, or 20/20 as we call it, and with no color blindness. That is what is expected. You can use eye drops that will cleanse throughout the year if you wish to, under medical advice. It does not matter if you are wearing corrective lenses, either spectacles or contact lenses, it doesn't matter at all. As long as you achieve 6 by 6 vision, 20/20 vision, it doesn't matter. No hearing defects, of course, is important. Now, physical fitness regime for an umpire, normally regularly umpiring matches should be enough to maintain the required level of fitness. Now, this is some of this I have borrowed from Cricket Australia. That is, I have put the symbol there. This regime is what they recommend for their umpires. You can pick and choose from any of these for yourself. Eyesight, hearing, ENT, uh, WT, heart rate, BP, reflexes, general fitness. You, uh, your weight to height proportion has to be proper. You shouldn't be overweight. This kind of physical, you pick up what you can from this and use it. There should be, I recommend pre-season walking and running, yes, but certainly walking if not running. Walking during the season is important. Don't physically wait. Don't unduly. Like I said, you don't want to become a pelwan or a power lifter or anything. You want to use the game of cricket. The game of football requires a uh, much more physical fitness, and but the game of cricket doesn't apply need that. Weight control is important. Yoga and Reiki, things like that, I have never used, but then they say it has its value. Alcohol intake can has to be reasonable uh, and moderate. All right. Uh, on the match day, this that was general, but on the match day, you can sort of have your own fitness regimen on that day. It is essential that the umpire follows some physical routine on the match day. This why should you be doing that? That is so that you're physically and mentally ready to perform. You're preparing yourself for a game, an important game. You should be physically and mentally ready to perform. You're going out into some physical activity. You have to keep your body flexible during the day, and you ensure that you recover well for umpiring the next day. At the end of the day, there should also be a small routine. Don't overdo it. There is not required for you to overdo it. All right. Now, while you're on the field of play, it is a good idea to flex your back and neck muscles, periodically, as there is always a tendency to hold them too rigidly in the continuous effort to concentrate. You're concentrating, and sometimes you put your head down, and then towards the afternoon, evening, you develop a soreness in your shoulder and neck muscles. You can easily avoid that kind of thing from happening uh, when you like sitting in front of a computer. It is recommended that you look away every 15 minutes, half an hour, look away from your computer, look into the distance. The same kind of principle. And also take your eyes away from the game and focus them on objects in the distance. Say if you're walking away from the wicket to square leg, look into the distance, look up at the skies, and look at the in the stands if there is something. Look towards the pavilion, so that you take your eyes away from the near and focus them away. This will relieve any strain that you might feel. Nowadays, all of you perhaps work on computers, and this is something that is recommended, very highly recommended for computer users. This kind of thing, you can carry the same thing onto the field of play. That will help you enormously to uh, retain your health. All right. Uh, Avoid soreness in the shoulder and neck muscles and all. Now, what is the umpire required to do? I found it somewhere. I don't remember. I think Cricket New Zealand is where I found this in their handbook. The umpire is required to evaluate all the available facts before him in a matter of seconds. That is what an umpire's job is. All available facts he has to evaluate in seconds, consider all the relevant factors, like an LBW has so many factors, disregarding deliberate attempts made by others to mislead him, like the batsman may say he's not out and may gesture that he's perhaps played the ball or he does this. I've had batters doing spreading their arms after having touched the ball with their glove. I recall Yuvraj doing it once in a Deodar Trophy match. I recall Krishna was the captain of Karnataka State Cricket Association. Normally, I don't. want batters to walk. It is all right if he doesn't walk and he asks for a decision, but he should go when I give him out. And definitely, I do not like batters to spread their arms and try and mislead me. So they will always be, and then the fielding side is always trying to make you feel, mislead you into concluding that it is he's out. And after that, you after doing all that, you must arrive at an impartial and just judgment and deliver it in a temperate and neutral tone of voice. Not out and not out is fine, or out, you simply raise your finger there. Your expression should be neutral. You shouldn't be have any expression, in fact, at all. So this is what an umpire job really is. And I remember once, yeah, I was a serious banker working for Punjab National Bank, and I left PNB when I was senior manager at age 43. And you can say that I was perhaps the first professional umpire in India because I decided to focus there. And after that, as chief manager in AGM, etc., I would have to definitely had to travel out. So I decided to give up that career to focus on umpiring. And in one of my interviews as senior manager, I was asked the question as I think it was a GM there. There was a GM Bombay and then a GM from HO in the interview panel. And they asked me, how do you think your umpiring benefits the bank? How do you think it benefits the bank? So I have experienced, frankly, it benefits me in the way, for public relations, it benefits me. People welcome me, big corporates and all that, honchos welcome me to their offices. If I sent them their card, which had Punjab National Bank on one side and International Cricket Umpire on the other side, I had created a card like that with official permission. But I told them, look, this is what an umpire does. And when you have a person, my forte was foreign exchange actually, and I was considered an expert in my field. And when you have a manager, a bank manager who is able to do this, you should be paying for him by weight in gold. So they had a laugh. They had a laugh about it, and then I passed through that interview. But all of this is true. This is the kind of job you do. Even if you are in the corporate field, you there are deliberate attempts to mislead you. You are a decision maker, and you have to pay out some money, like in the bank, pay out a lot of money. You have to be impartial, available facts. You have to evaluate documents. You have to evaluate, and then decide. So anybody who can decide things like this, yes, is of great value to the bank. All right, in your corporate field also. Now, the inner person, the umpire, has to be a confident person with a healthy belief in himself. That is very important. That you should believe in yourself. Your carriage will be different if you have a healthy belief in yourself. Shun arrogance. It is very easy for you to become arrogant in cricket umpiring when somebody either rises too early. Sometimes uh, I have seen umpires develop arrogance, and arrogance will ultimately bring you down. So people do. I have known among the elite panel umpires, they had very little respect for one particular umpire. No, they did not like him at all. He was absolutely arrogant. Even in his playing days, he was absolutely arrogant. Uh, very, very bad tongue. Very bad tongue. So they didn't like him. Your colleagues will not like you. You're on the same panel, they won't like you. Sometimes it is less a matter of what you say and do rather than how you say or do it. In umpiring, body language often speaks louder than words. Even a 100% good call will cast doubts. Now, if you've given an LBW decision with much hesitation, it might be a good decision, proved ultimately by television. The television is there to pass judgment on you. But if you were shaky in your judgment, then it will reflect on you. You do not, if you do not appear decisive. It is a very finely balanced thing. Umpire Mamsa always used to say, and it is on my book also, a quote from him: pause before decision. Always don't be hasty in giving your decision. Pause before decision. So it is a good thing to pause. Hasty decisions will make you make a mistake, but that is very finely balanced. Too much delay. Sometimes I think we had Steve Buckner taking a long time in giving a decision. He might have given a good decision, but then sometimes people felt that he's taken too long to give it. He was a very good umpire, one of the best, but he had developed that trait somehow. So that is just an example, not that not to reflect on his competence. Uh, every confident person, be he a player or umpire, is a bundle of doubts and fears when he first steps onto the field of play in any important game. Like a player, every player, you ask Sunil Gavaskar, you ask Mr. Virat Kohli, you ask Sachin Tendulkar, everybody has butterflies in his stomach. And how he overcomes it and deals with it, when he goes onto the field of play, I have experienced this myself, that when you step onto the field of play and 50,000 people roaring loudly, it's quite a feeling. Believe me, it is quite a feeling. There is a flutter inside you. But once the over games gets underway, the first over is done, then you settle down, uh, and you don't even look at them. You don't feel that they are there. The people are there. There's a lot of noise. All of that is there. A lot of action. But then you have settled down. You have settled down. You cannot also let on and let on that you're jittery. You have to maintain an outward show of confidence at all times. It is very important that the umpire must be able to do so. Any umpire who goes into a good game, he cares for his performance. That is why the jitters come. Similarly, the player cares for his performance. That is where the jitters come from. Not that he is afraid. A guy who's done 100 games also, he will still feel that because he cares for his performance. And it's good to feel some jitters, some excitement, some jitters. You can't go into a game high school. Nobody can. Nobody does. I doubt it very much. Even today, umpires with 100 matches under their belt do not feel jitters when they go on to an important game. They do, like everybody else. It is just a uh, very to be expected. Now, an umpire must have a judicious makeup of mind. Now, I as a person, I do not know. I can be my mental makeup is such that I cannot be anything but fair. I cannot be unfair. Either I do not know whether the chicken came first or the egg came first. Was I always like that, or and therefore I became an umpire and was considered a good umpire, a fair umpire, or years of umpiring had have made me so. Many years of umpiring has made me so. I do not know what, but this is what you must possess: a judicious makeup of mind. Fairness should be what you should always be aiming for, and that is what will earn your reputation with players. That is what, and nothing else. The fair-minded umpire should not care who wins. His satisfaction in a game is derived from having given fair and just decisions. Again, the inner person, the umpire must possess integrity. There is another aspect to integrity. There is a woeful practice of currying favor with captains and match referees if there is one for good reports. I have seen this being done. I, for one, will always call into question the integrity of the umpire who will indulge in these practices. Everyone wants to go up in this world. To my mind, that is not the way. Nobody can ever accuse me of having tried to curry favor. Absolutely not. Be unbiased and neutral. Be calm and impartial. Be balanced and level-headed. And it might not be easy for the umpire to remain calm and impartial at all times in the face of over-aggressive player behavior. That is where you are being tested. So you have to uh, control yourself because it is possible to react. You don't have to be aggressive at all. Keep calm. Always keep calm. There you will find guys like Shane Warne and all that. I mean, you can imagine the kind of appealing that goes on, arms raised in front of you and all that. So you have to keep calm. Not us. That finishes it. Now it is during this time the umpire's ability to maintain his balance and level-headedness is truly tested. You are tested all the time. And finally, be firm. You should not be bossy or overbearing, but you have to be firm and must be able to control the game effectively in the face of increased aggression that one sees from players. Aggression is part of the game. They try to win one or two decisions here and there, and uh, and there may be seem a momentary conflict with the firm umpire. By and large, in the end, players appreciate firmness in the umpire. They appreciate firmness. They want somebody. No, they don't want the dilly-dallying umpire. They just don't want it. I don't know if I think perhaps I told you that I told you that incident where I was at Vizag umpiring a corporate shield match, a tournament actually, two, three matches there. And we were there the previous day of the match. We were there on the ground and looking after markings and all those things, the pre-match duties. And normally I do go when the two sides are there. I do go and go around to where the nets are uh, to meet players that I know. I do that. But here I had not noticed that Venkatesh Prasad was on the ground, and he was there as a coach, bowling coach for Ishant Sharma. And he saw me and he came across. Hello, Mr. Singh, are you umpiring here? Nice to see you after so long. He retired from cricket, of course. And we met, and then he said, I'm the coach of this team, and do you know Ishant? So he called Ishant over. I said, yes, I do know him. Ishant, I have always liked, a very vulnerable kind of boy. I've always liked him. I met him. In fact, that year I had umpired the Delhi Ranji Trophy match, but he didn't play. He was playing for India. Virat Kohli was playing there, but this man wasn't there. I said I umpired the Delhi match, but he didn't play that game. And and Venkatesh Prasad introduced me to him that meet Mr. Singh. He is a tough umpire. That is what he said. So the point of the story is remember that I never had a conflict with Venkatesh Prasad. He was a good chap altogether. He never troubled umpires in his life. But he carried the impression that yes, this guy is a tough umpire. They appreciate firmness and toughness in an umpire. You have to be like that. Don't go about currying favor. Don't go about trying to be over friendly with anybody. Maintain your distance. They'll respect you all the more. They will respect you all the more. No player could have ever placed his arm on my shoulder. I would walk away. I would walk away from that. But this is how I would want you to develop a firm and tough manner of thing. You don't have to be extra tough. Just make sure. Now that sciences like yoga and Reiki can help the umpire to maintain some of these physical and mental qualities, reduce stress, fatigue, both mental and physical. Uh, you can take the help of these things. Like I told you, I never use them, but they are things that you can improve yourself physically and mentally. Now, coming to knowledge and the qualifications of a good umpire, an umpire may occasionally make a mistake in evaluating facts before him, or he may see things differently, but he should never make an error of law. It is absolutely inexcusable that you make an error of law for an umpire. That is why you need to be always in, you need to hone your knowledge all the time. Possess complete knowledge over what you're doing, the laws of cricket and the rules governing the game. You should have complete. How can you try and do that? See what does the umpires do? He's got his laws of cricket, then he's got regulations, laws, local conditions, refresher courses, discussion, match practice, spirit of the game. All this he has to carry in his head, and he has to perhaps become a studious kind of person. Let nobody tell you that he's a bookish umpire and all that. All that is crap. Know the laws of the game always. Know the laws of the game. A bookish umpire is very likely to be able to deal with different situations, difficult situations, than somebody who doesn't know what to do in a given situation. And there is something like I know. This is a habit I have seen among umpires that they develop this. statement. I know everything. That mental attitude is I know. When you say I know, you're shutting the door of knowledge, absolutely shutting the door of knowledge. When you say I know everything, there's nothing for me to learn. I've done so many matches. There's so many. I've done so many first class matches. I have risen to the international level. I know everything. So again, a bit of that is an arrogant attitude developing. Always guard against that. Always be open to fresh knowledge. All right, somebody is saying something, listen to it. You may reject it, but to say that I know and that man cannot contribute anything or say anything to me, never fool yourself with that. You're doing yourself some harm by doing that, by using this. He has shut himself into a cocoon and no knowledge can get to him. Always a learner be, and each game can have a lesson for you. These are what our older people uh, had to say about it. Older people had to say about it. Now, I do hope that you are not getting boring and finding this monotonous. Hello.
No, not real, nothing.
I do hope that you people are not finding this monotonous and
Not at
boring.
all, sir. Yeah, it's
Huh?
interesting.
Pardon?
It's interesting, sir. Not at all boring.
I hope so. I hope you all are finding this interesting because मैं बोलता जा रहा हूँ और आपको मजा नहीं आ रहा हो ऐसा
What
नहीं है
about this from a youngster
हाँ
into this squad? Turns up, debut World
let us
Cup.
look at
It's
the
not
match here
Hello, sir. We are listening, sir.
one
We
more
are
wicket out
listening.
of
fabulous,
huh
and his heart right on his sleeve. And what he's done here is said, right, if you thought
South
you might turn
Africa
off, don't
Australia
you
what is the status
dare, because this one is still on.
they are
Big
193
time.
for 7 getting very
Inglis,
close
so good for his
they'll win I
28,
think
nearly there. Australia 193 for 7.
my god what a game okay so I hope I can go on there is no problem there okay all right see keeping up to date how does one what does one do to keep up to date. See, I would recommend the following: a thorough reading of the laws and regulations at the beginning of the season. Read afresh 2 or 3 times during the season. The laws may also be read immediately before big games. This also helps bring your mind to the coming game and helps you to attain the all important focus to that important game that you are preparing for. That focus is very important. Just merely reading the laws is not the only reason. Updating yourself, you already know the laws backward. You know the laws backward, but it helps you to bring focus to that particular game. All right, that is why it is important. Attend refresher courses wherever you can, seminars, discussion meets. In our local association of cricket umpires, there would be local meets once a month. Doesn't happen anymore in Bombay. There were discussion meets, and this is always interesting. A discussion with your colleagues, you will meet people and always talk to them. And of course, the internet is a new source of information. But be on the guard that the internet can also give you wrong information, and uh, information not always right. So keeping up to date involves all of this. Most important of which is, of course, match practice is there. It is important. Now you have gained the knowledge that you by reading books or attending seminars and all that. But it is in actual match practice that you learn to implement your knowledge. You must always do matches regularly matches, and in the matches there you have to be sort of sharpening the saw. If you see a good carpenter, he will always sharpen the saw. Uh, Even though it looks good enough, he'll take a file and then sharpen the saw. Why is he doing it? Because his tools have to be kept proper. That is what he is doing. The whole idea is that. Now, it is experience in applying the basic knowledge gained that will hone the umpire's skills in this area and make his knowledge of the laws more pakka, because that is actually the real test. You have to accept every match that comes your way and seek every opportunity to hone your skills that you have acquired. You acquired the skills, hone them, keep working on them, uh, practicing them, practicing your knowledge, uh, finding queries. Now, dress and equipment, more than ever before, is one of confidence and self belief. This, as I've mentioned earlier, it requires both to players and umpires, and consequently, the umpires must do all that he can to boost that confidence. One of the first things he should do is he must dress properly and confidently. He should appear be comfortable. His dress is of vital importance to begin with. It will affect your own self-esteem and the player's confidence in him. And when you are confident, it is not easy, not difficult to conclude that it will also affect your decision making and acceptability of the decisions with the players. It will lead to that greater confidence. There is an adage in cricket which says that you might score a first ball duck, but look smart while doing it. Now, scoring 100 on the day or a first ball duck might not be entirely in your hands, or good umpiring may not be in your hands. You might not do well, but at least what you can do is look smart while doing it. That is in your hands. You on the day you will not be. You're never sure how you're going to perform, but look smart while doing it. You can always do that. You can always do that. In real life, as well as in umpiring, the book is often judged by its cover, even before the first ball is bowled. The umpire approaching a well-dressed umpire, he inspires confidence, and you are judged by the cover. Quite frankly, in life also that is also true. Dress properly, conduct yourself properly, work closely with your colleague, and your appearance before and during after the game is important. And a smartly dressed umpire will impress more people than you might think. All right. Casual dress can be left for another occasion. What do you think that it should be there? The coat, white coat has disappeared. Clean trousers, black coat, white coat, a tie. Nowadays, gone. All right. A hat, white socks and shoes. Shoes are important. Socks are important for comfort. You must always focus on that also. Sunglasses, like I have always told you, don't go in for those really dark ones because quite simply, uh, if you cannot do a medical test the next day with the same glasses, reject them. I would recommend to you the night vision glasses where your eyes are visible. I have mentioned this to you. The on-field equipment that you will carry, uh, you should not be unduly weighed down. That is important. But otherwise, you can carry a ball counter, notebook, pencil. Everybody has this. Small penknife, scissors, a watch, a run-up marker, sandpaper, small towel, match ball and spare one, bails and a spare bail. All of this. But then remember, the overriding thing is you're not a general store for players. You may carry a few band-aids also. One might add band-aids there. It is all right. People, if they get hurt, but keep them sterile because people nowadays are quite concerned about sterility of medical equipment. Keep them sterile always. Then there is off-field equipment that you must perhaps carry: a calculator, an extra ball counter, measurement for bails, ball and bat, laws and regulations, more bails, extra stump, stock of new and old balls, extra shirt, all of these as part of your equipment. I'm sure you are practicing umpires are all doing it. If you're not doing anything here, now you already started umpiring. Now, what is the essential difference between an ordinary umpire and a top level umpire? Generally, this is felt that one factor, you may possess the same knowledge, but the top level umpire will have very good, very high level of concentration and focus. You have to maintain that optimal level of performance by maintaining top level concentration at vital moments. You work to bring yourself into focus before the game, and you maintain that focus throughout. This can be the essential difference. And whenever you lose focus, whenever you lose concentration, you can be sure that you will make a mistake. Many a times it will happen that you are doing very well throughout the day, and there comes a time when you have lost your concentration and therefore made a mistake. It happens to the best. An umpire coming back tells you, look, I lost my concentration there for some time, and therefore I. There is one more thing that I will recommend to you very strongly. This is something I practiced throughout my career. Very early in my career, this was a contribution of umpire Judah Ruben, a former Test umpire of India. He and he and uh, umpire Mamsa were contemporaries, and I had very good regard for umpire because, and he's the guy after whom I really modeled myself. He's that kind of person. Now, the point is, late evening is a specially danger time for one to lose concentration for any umpire. At say 4 p.m., you got a match till 5 o'clock. At around 3:34 is the time that you are likely to lose concentration. It is the last hour on a hot day. He's already been 5 hours on the field of play. Here, that you are most likely to make a mistake. And this is also the time you should pick yourself up. Consciously straighten your back and your shoulders and bring a spring to your step. I regularly practice this all my career, and I would strongly recommend that you do it. Like me, you also might feel tired around the end of the day, but that is the time, and people do watch. And if you are slumping at 4 o'clock, there are people who watch and who see that yes, he's getting tired now. And when you get tired, focus drops, concentration drops, and you can make a mistake. In the last hour, that is the danger period for most umpires. And when a game was going, there is a tendency for concentration to slacken and for disaster to strike the umpire. Now, deliberate and regular practice of this late evening push can help the umpire during this danger period or at any time you observe slackness during the game coming into you. I remember this, I was umpiring a game. I had mentioned this game in another context about bails falling, bails broken in, two bails being broken in one session at Baroda. I was umpiring a match, under 17 match or something like that. It was under 19, under 17 match. My colleague was Chandrakant Chandrasekhar Mohite from Baroda, also an international umpire. And I umpired the Ranji Trophy finals also with him, but that was after that. But before this, we had not umpired too much. But we umpired that game together. And I have always my movements on the field have been always a little brisk, not too fast, a little brisk, no languid movements at all. I would walk purposefully. I recommend you walk purposefully, never be looking slack. So it was a 4 day game, I believe. And I umpired the way I do, and walking around from uh, my position, uh, different positions you take on the field of play or moving around the field when the ball is played away and all that. You will never observe any slackness in my movement. And if you look at the RSWS matches at age 69, also, I think I managed to retain that kind of thing if you watch them on YouTube. Some of the games that movement has to be purposeful and not slack. So at the end of 4 days, my colleague told me, he said, yeah, I was observing you. On day one, I said, all right, it is day one and you're doing it, and therefore, but you didn't slacken on this, on your movements right through all the 4 days. I did not, because I have been consciously working to do that also. And it is obvious sometimes that yes, all right, this has not affected him. He's not tired. He doesn't look tired at all. It is very easy to become slack. Very easy to become slack. So now the focused umpire will keep all outside matters out of his mind during the game. That is what is important. It is easier said than done because, and one needs to practice it all in all practice games. Keep your focus. Remember, it is concentration and focus are basic to good umpiring. If you lose concentration, you're gone. Now, the key is to be aware of your level of focus and catch yourself immediately if it is seen to slacken. And then pick yourself up. Do a pick yourself up. One must always be 100% switched on when one enters the game. The need to bring one's mind completely to the game should start prior to the start of the match. Even when reading of the rules prior to 2, 3 days, 4 days, a week before that, then attending to your pre-match duties diligently. The hour or so that you arrive early for the match, you should be doing your pre-match duties. All of this helps you, along with your colleague, helps you to bring your focus into the game. You should also discuss the level of mutual assistance that should be maintained during the game. Both of you, each of you, have to support each other. Discuss that. What kind of signaling you will be wanting and doing. Generally, the kind of signaling I always have, that I would always ask a yes/no question, never a double-edged question. I ask him something, he says yes, I know what he means. It is like that. And if you have umpired with somebody over a period of time, you develop that kind of thing. Warm up. Doing your warm up exercises helps to focus. Light warm up exercises, just flexing your legs and muscles, your calves and all that before you go to the game. Do some small squats without weights. Do them. Loosen up before you start for the game. Avoid prolonged discussion on outside issues. There might be people coming there to meet you. They will be discuss raise certain topics. They may come during lunch and take your mind away from the game. Avoid that. Important game. I'm not. It is not. If you are, there is no natural light in your dressing room or sunlight, you might 10 minutes before prior to the start you might go outside. Get used to the light and the glare. Get used to it rather than stepping out of a dark room directly going into this. Step out 10 minutes earlier. Get used to it. Look around and get used to the surroundings. You see, the nature of focus required in the game, you must appreciate, is a stop-start game where the action comes on when the bowler starts to run up and goes on through the time the ball is played and fielded and returned and ceases when the ball becomes dead. Uh, there are plateaus of high concentration and valleys of relaxation. That is how it works. Plateaus of high concentration followed by valleys of relaxation. You can graphically represent this. Like when the bowler starts his run up at point A, you bring your focus starts rising. And when the ball is delivered, that is its highest point, and then the ball becomes dead. Up to there, you have to maintain a high level of focus, and then it drops down and comes here after that. Again, it picks up when the bowler starts to run up for his next delivery. This kind of cycle is maintained throughout the game. That is the nature of focus. You don't have to be concentrated 100% all the time, concentrated 100%. But this is an interesting thing here. If you have a look, your concentration and focus is never to the level of zero. It is never level to the of zero. Even when the ball is dead, you are still required to maintain a certain level of concentration. Maybe 20%, 30% of what you have, because there are a lot of things for you to do. It can never be zero. You are relatively relaxed. You still have to maintain a general awareness of things around you. Always. For instance, that how the returning bowler is handling the ball, he might be tampering with it. The way in which the batsman is tapping the pitch, time taken in walk back by the bowler, fielder's position polishing the ball excessively, someone trying is tying a shoelace and might delay the next delivery, change in positions of fielders and wicket keepers. All that awareness has to be there. So your focus can never be zero. You cannot shut yourself out completely. Now, keeping oneself aware of the strategies adopted by the fielding side to exploit possible weaknesses keeps one in the game. Never give advice to anybody about strategies to either side. Remember that always. The position at square leg, though it is relatively less busy, is simply not the place where you can relax. You still have to follow the same pattern of concentration, will apply to him itself. And the action is where the ball is. This is the kind of watchfulness you require to the ball. I would want each umpire. I do not know if you are practicing it. Just as every fielder or ball or batter is urged to keep his eyes on the ball, the umpire should also do the same. When the ball, you raise your eyes from the feet of the batter, bowler, and you immediately try to capture the ball. Like here, Dhoni has. Here, in your case, the ball is going away from you. In his case, the ball is coming to him. And very often, the batter who lifts his eyes from the ball is generally caught or and all that, or he may miss the line altogether. The guy who keeps his eyes on the ball at all times will prosper as a batter. A fielder lifting his eyes from the ball is likely to misfield. Similarly, you don't concentrate on the ball which is going away from you. You are likely to miss those small edges or the back patch, the pad. So the right thing for you to do is try and work to maintain. Always look at the ball, pick it up easily, far quickly, make it a habit. This is how you should be really umpiring, right? But of course, when the ball is in the field and batsmen are running, you have to make fleeting glances to both places. Observe the batsman running and between and completion of runs. All right. It might be a good idea. I always used to do it in the beginning of innings. Look at the ball. Look at the ball. As soon as the bowler starts to run up, look at the ball to bring my focus on the ball. Consciously tell myself, look at the ball. Once I lift my eyes from the bowler's feet, I must spot the ball. Spot the ball immediately and catch hold of the ball. And yes. Now they're losing focus. There can be various reasons for an umpire to lose his focus and concentration during the game, such as allowing extraneous matters to disturb him or a miss. Sometimes you miss a no ball or a white ball, or you make a wrong decision. That is where your focus can be disturbed. The last needs wrong decisions. This needs special mention and is the bane of every umpire. You are bound to make mistakes. See the umpire wrong decision and how it will affect you. The umpire must accept that however hard he tries, he will make a mistake from time to time. He will always make a mistake. You can't. He must remember that he cannot, like God, see all and hear all. He is just striving to give his best judgment based on what he has seen or heard from his given position in the field, 22 to 25 yards away from the batsman. That is your given position. You are not right next to him. You do not have sneakometer. You do not have the uh, other aids, slow motion. You have to decide in a fraction of a second. You must expect that you will make mistakes. Now, perfection is umpiring is unattainable. If you are trying to look for it, uh, there is never an umpire. It will be a grave mistake. Umpire who has never made a mistake, there is no such umpire, and a good umpire is one who makes fewer mistakes. But mistakes can be great educators, and umpires must learn from the mistake and make sure that a similar one doesn't occur in the future. You may look at your the footage later on. I do not suggest you look at the footage about your decisions during the course of the game. Always later on, never during the game. So, when you have made a mistake, what do you do? It is easy to say that one must forget one's mistake, but it is not as easily practiced. It is not easy. Uh, it is easy for me to tell you this, but umpires will ponder over their mistakes. They will do it. Everybody will do it. Anybody. But if you are serious about a job, making a mistake must hurt you. But the important thing is not to let it affect your mind and not to let it affect your performance. That is what is important. You have to accept that you will make a certain number of mistakes. And that umpiring calls for making split second decisions under stressful conditions and must accept that making mistakes is a hazard of the job. You can't help it, you can't avoid it. It can be seriously hampered when he knows or he feels that a mistake has occurred. If an error made by the umpire is on the field is not properly handled, that umpire's concentration can be seriously disturbed and he can go to pieces from there. He can. It is very easy for self-doubt to creep up on the umpire. It is here that you have to display your self-control and put yourself into overdrive and concentrate on the next ball. This is a saying I got from the umpire's handbook from New Zealand years ago. Now it is perhaps available on the internet also, this handbook. You can download it. There are some good instructions there. The way an umpire conducts himself after the moment when he knows or thinks that he has made a mistake is the best gauge of an umpire's character and ability. Till that point, everything is going all right. Both umpires are equal. But from the time an umpire makes a mistake, that is where you must closely observe him, how he is behaved, and how he copes with that mistake that he has made. How he copes with. Everybody makes nowadays. Everybody on the ground knows that a mistake has been made. How then he copes with his mistake is what judges the umpire's character. You must resist the temptation to eavesdrop on players' conversation between overs or trying to see or judge how they are reacting to the decision, how the players are reacting to the decision. It is natural. You are not sure about the decision, you have given it, and then you look for uh, approval. Are they okay with that? That is the kind of thing you should uh, try hard not to indulge in. All right, I've given a decision the way I saw it, the way I uh, heard it, and it's over there. It's over there. Now go on to the next decision. Another thing, handling criticism and queries. They sometimes players will say just to vent frustration. Now all comments need not be responded to. You can turn a deaf ear to criticism. That is how you can maintain your focus and help. And you must know how to handle people. Listening is an important skill. You don't have to react to every something in the spur of the moment they have reacted to a decision of yours or something that you have done. But a lot of times you have to let things go. Now, answering questions on decisions is something that everybody faces. Increasingly, players or captains are seen making query about a decision. Why wasn't that out? And as long as it is a request for information, it is fine and can be dealt with a short and to the point answer. No detailed answer should be given to any player or captain asking you something. And never should an umpire get into a prolonged discussion or explanation. Many a good decision can be ruined by a bad explanation. In fact, answering queries can indeed help to build a rapport with the players and may even avoid further frivolous appealing. They see that yes, all right, he has judged it well. Missing leg stump, you told him missing leg stump. So next time there is not going to be a decision there. I remember I was umpiring India versus Australia and at Kanpur, and Jadeja was the batsman. They had at that time, he didn't play too long. Australia had an off spinner who would turn the ball a little bit. I've forgotten his name, Bruce something I think his name was, and turn the ball a bit, and he beat Jadeja's bat on the this thing front foot. He beat Jadeja's bat, and the ball touched his pad and went away. And that was not the time of third umpire. There, the TV was there just to pass judgment on us, not to help us. And I judged that the ball has hit him just outside the line of off stump. It was definitely going to off stump. The bowler asked me, "Why wasn't that out?" So I said, "It's shade outside off stump." He subsided immediately. No further this thing. So this kind of query can be answered. After the over, when I went to square leg, Ricky Ponting was next to me. He says, why wasn't that out up? I said, it hit him a shade outside off stump. And that was the end of the matter. That was the end of the matter. And when I went in, my colleague, the third umpire, he told me, unasked, he told me that looked out to me. That is what he told me. I said, that's fine. In the hearing of the match referee, I said, that's fine. Uh, I judged that it was a shade outside off stump. And how many times did you have to see it to judge that it was in line? He said 3, 4 times. I said, I don't have that privilege. I don't have the privilege of facility of slow motion. And I'm happy with that decision. I'm happy with that decision. So it doesn't matter even if you made a mistake. My colleague told me that, but I still doubt it. I haven't been able to see that replay. But my instinct, what I judged was a shade outside off stump. I thought I was right. So let it not worry you too much, even if it was an error. So now the umpires as a team, the umpires must work as a team in the discharge of duties, must be ready at all times to assist one's colleague whenever he requires the assistance. Always be ready to help your colleague. It will make the job easier and more of a pleasure. Colleagues, you should always maintain eye contact with your colleague throughout the game. Uh, every ball you can even look at him to see that he's ready, definitely before the start of the over. But every ball you can look at him, he's there right in front of you, see that you're all right. Or he may have some signal to make to you. Watch him. And in conflict situations, umpires must move together in dealing with situations. Never go alone. The two of you get together. There is some conflict between umpire and player, player and player. It can be anything. Work together. Work together. Be there, seen as a team, and never criticize your colleague. Any inadequacies you feel he may have should, under no circumstances, be pointed out to anyone but him alone. Talk to him if you think that you need to tell him something. Criticizing your colleague can be the quickest way to lose players' respect. Now, he, uh, you have to always be trying to support your partner. I recall I was umpiring a match. This was my first exposure to Ashok Pankad. Ashok Pankad, I told you, is watches umpires closely. Very knowledgeable he used to be, and he was the captain of Mofatlar. And I was umpiring a match, A division match, Time Shield A division match on Wilson College, Gymkhana. Now that Wilson College, Gymkhana, Sharik will tell you, is a very dusty ground, ghas poos nahi hai, very poor maintenance. And I was wearing hard contact lenses at that time. And there was a strong wind for over 2 days, and I had dust in my eyes and all that. And I feel that is the excuse for me to have perhaps missed one or two uh, bat pad decisions. One or two bat pad decisions. Maybe my fault, but then that is the excuse I have for myself. And after the game was over, Ashok Pankad was there. The dressing room was a shared dressing room. My partner was there. He was changing, and my partner was umpire, test umpire, PR Punjabi, and Ashok, perhaps not seeing that I am close. Ashok used to talk in Gujarati, to anybody and everybody, and he said in Gujarati, he said about your colleague, he's all right. But थोड़ा बैट पैड में थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम है ऐसा he said it about me to umpire Punjabi. Now umpire Punjabi, what he did was, he said yes, but yeah, Ashok, but then bat pad is a problem with everybody. He said yes, yes, of course that is so. So he found me suitable, except that he did question now a couple of bat pad decisions. Umpire Punjabi immediately covered up for me and supported me. So he said, yeah, he's good, but that bad pad. He said, yeah, of course, that is with everybody at all levels. Bad pad is a problem with umpires at all levels. So it was all right. So I survived the game, but I did make a couple of mistakes in that game, whatever the reason for it. Now, when you're a team, there is consultation is allowed. It must not be overdone. And it is to be resorted to only when an umpire has a real doubt on any point on which his colleague might be able to offer valuable evidence because he is standing in a better position to observe the incident. And a lot of times you don't have to get together. If you work properly as a team before, you know what this in the situation. If the ball is gone to the boundary in a manner where it is either 4 or 6, and I am going to ask him, is it 6? He says no. That means it is a 4. So that is how your question in your mind also should be framed. Never a two-edged question. Was the catch
But
taken is
Captain
what I'm
Cummins
asking my
can
colleague.
see
He
it.
said, yes, so finish.
He can feel
I don't have to go into a
this
huddle.
final within his grasp.
1 second. Hello? Uh, oh, they
An
are winning.
example of
This
common
the
straw.
sound came on. They are winning now. Okay. All right. Consultation, like I told you, has to be. You can do it from a distance, but then nothing stops you from approaching your colleague if you think that it is not clear to your satisfaction. And the law now instructs that if the doubt is not removed, even after consultation, the decision must be in favor of the batsman. It has to be a not out. With not out is the right decision when your doubt is not removed. When your doubt is not removed, it is the right decision. Now, the umpires and scorers form another team on the field of play. We supervise the game in the middle, and the scorers record the proceedings on the basis of signals received from umpires from time to time. Scorers and umpires must work together. Make sure that you give clear, unambiguous signals to your scorer colleagues who must promptly acknowledge. We studied in the laws that this is the requirement of both teams, both of us to work together. A cardinal rule to follow for umpires to follow is never signal to the scorers when the ball is in play. I have seen it done in bigger games also. The ball is being thrown in, and the umpire turns and signals a leg by, or even a boundary or whatever. That should never happen to you in any game. Positioning and movement of umpires. You walk purposefully. When two umpires are walking, they should be a strong, purposeful walk rather than languidly. You decide with your colleague who's going to which end, and accordingly you move. Umpire Mamsa used to tell you never cross each other uh, in the middle. You start, if your end is on the right, you start on the right of your colleague. If your end is on the left, you start in the, don't cross in the middle, is what the one basic thing that he always taught us. And I followed it all my career. Or if the pavilion is square to the wicket, one sometimes sees umpires, breaking away from their own ends almost immediately upon entering the field. Walk together, always walk up to the nearest wicket and then break apart, is what you can do. You can practice that. And while coming off, wait for your colleague who might be at the far end and then you walk back together. This is how you should always be seen as a team, not only in times of stress or problem, always the two of them walking together. That is how it is, walking on, walking off. Now, bowlers and umpire, among the duties, now I will not give details about the positioning of the umpires, though there is, and I can share this if you want me to, I can share this with you where I have given instruct this slideshow. I can share with you. You can have a look at it. What the bowlers and umpires is required to do. There is a lot of detailing there. Similarly, uh, where how movement is to be done. Always be ready to move if the non-striker is not within his ground and the ball is in play. Always with a small initial movement you must always make rather than remain rooted to your spot. You have already anticipated anybody can throw the ball at any time. A sharp throw can come to the bowler's end at any time. So if you see that the non-striker is outside, move a little to the side. Always do it. Never be casual about movement, and that can make a difference. And keep your eyes on the fielder who has the ball. Always keep your eyes on the fielder who has the ball when you are at the bowler's end. Now, about same side movement, it might be good practice for same side movement uh, because your eyes on the ball, you are moving towards the ball, and the action is in front of you. And then when you turn, you see the proper breaking of the wicket because the fielder is facing you. But always remember that never turn your back to a ball which is being thrown in. Never turn your back to the ball which is being thrown in. The right thing to do is always look at the ball, see it pass you, and then you can straighten up and look at the crease. Because you are say about 7, 8, 9 feet deep, and the ball has to travel that. Then you straighten up and switch your eyes to the line and watch the ball. See that it doesn't hit you. That is important. In my first ODI, see, this is how I always used to practice my positioning and watching the ball and taking position. Sachin Tendulkar has a very, very strong arm. And when I was at the bowler's end and I turned on the same side and I was watching him deep in the cover to throw the ball, he threw it. And I allowed the ball to pass me quite close, not far away. And I allow it to pass it close. That is how I've been a player and all that. I know I'm not afraid of a ball. I allow it to pass quite close. And Sachin went like this when he saw me close to the ball. And he even came running and he said, "Sir, please watch out. My throw is very strong." I said, "Yes, yes, I realize that and I know it because he threw on the ground. And from the ground, it skidded through and just over a foot from me. But you should not always take that risk. Be aware that of strong throwers. But I always used to, step into the line of the ball and then turn towards the action about 10, 12 feet from where I have taken position. All right. So on the same, you should turn fully square only when the throw in has passed you. This will ensure that the ball never hits you. A very simple thing to follow. Now going the other way, uh, see what happens is if the ball is here and you as an umpire move into this area, there is a very good chance that you will be hit on the side of your head by a ball thrown here. If this man is deep, there is no problem. But a quick run here, uh, you're in danger. Or a ball which has been hit in this area, in this V, and you go there, and there is a fielder behind you, and he throws the ball, there is a problem. You will get hit, or you will interfere with the. So in such cases, it is always advisable to go to the opposite side, sacrificing that factor about you don't want to get hit, you don't want to interfere with the fielding. You go to the opposite side. Similarly, on this side, if the ball is coming to this area, there is a short mid-on, a regular mid-on here, and you come here. Be very careful that you do not, the fellow doesn't throw. Then you need to go deep. You need to do go deep. So nowadays, and there is also nowadays a very, very important thing element. I tell umpires to be very careful about this business, getting hit. Uh, it is very easy. You can suffer injuries if you go the wrong way. You can suffer injuries if you go wrong. And another exception to the same side rule, I have always followed the same side rule and I urge you to follow it. But there are exceptions. Now, another exception for a same side rule is that if there is a runner, like I have told you, you must position yourself at point so that you have this chap in the striker in front of you and the runner behind in the background. And then you have always got to go to this side. Very, very difficult to practice. You have to consciously say, I have to go to the left. I have to go to the left because your instinct will take you here. And as a result, if you come here, you will find that the runner is running behind you. You're hopelessly out of position. You shouldn't let that happen to you. That is what makes it difficult. When there is a runner, it becomes a problem. It becomes a problem. Strikers and umpire also, uh, the position is batsman with a runner. Again, that problem is there. Personal safety and prevention of injury. I have added this recently, and in the era of slam bang version of the game, the umpire is increasingly in danger of being hit by the ball, either from the batter straight to you or a strike by the batter that is deflected by the bowler or fielder and wicket or non-striker. This is the most dangerous, where there is a deflection from the ball, from somebody there, either from the bowler or a fielder or the wicket or the non-striker. You don't have the time to move. You simply don't have the time to move. Infinitely more dangerous. The only time I have been hit on a field of play while umpiring was when that Bombay bowler Shivalkar, Padmakar Shivalkar was bowling in Kangali. He was bowling around the wicket, over the wicket to a batter. Now the batter hit the ball straight. Now, like I told you, I tend to be over the ball. If the ball is passing me, I tend to be over the ball, looking at the ball passing me. I took my position there, waiting for the ball to pass me, and Shivalkar deflected it with his hand, and it came right here. I had to leave the field to take stitches. I couldn't continue umpiring that day because it was quite severe, and that is most dangerous. And that is why I feel now I umpired in the RSWS, the first match that I umpired. Now I like to believe, I don't know whether wrongly, that I have not lost my reflexes even from my younger days. Maybe that is fanciful thinking. But in the first match, a Sri Lankan batsman, he hit the ball uh, half volley, and it came straight to my left chest, straight here. And I managed at the last. I had no time to move. I had no time to move. Absolutely no time. I could have lost my reflexes also for all you know. I don't know, but I had no time to move. The ball rushed. The modern day bats are like that. The ball became at such a rush to me. It was coming to my chest, and I just managed to pull away. And the ball hit me on the forearm, the left forearm, when I turned away. And it had the potential to stop my heart if it had hit me straight or break any bone in my arm. This is that position. Fortunately, I got a deflecting blow. I was very lucky. I consider myself very lucky. And this kind of thing can nowadays happen all the time. Now, the first thing I urge umpires to accept is that there is real danger. And therefore, I urge, what can you do to protect yourself? I urge umpires today to do something to protect themselves. In modern day cricket, you need to have protection. Never laugh at umpires who are wearing some protective. That day, we were seeing a video in the BBL. There was an umpire with a helmet, a proper helmet. He must be wearing other protective equipment also. We have a player an umpire who carries that shield with him. How useful that shield is, I do not know, but at least it is something which gives him confidence that yes, if I am hit, I can defend myself. I would urge a helmet with a visor and throat guard. Quite frankly, in September 2021, I wrote to the ICC and the BCCI. There is the need to now for umpires to protect themselves from injury. Let us not, my words were very plain, very bluntly, and let us not wait for somebody to die on the field. I hope that doesn't happen. Shin and knee guards, protect your knees especially because knee injury can finish your umpiring career. Protect your knees. Shins can get repaired. There is an abdomen guard and chest guard. And I, in my lifetime, never used protection, and even in that match. But then I got and bought a abdomen guard and wore it. I didn't wear a helmet. But umpires have been known to wear helmets. One umpire in first class cricket also, and there has been some very serious injuries have taken place on the ground with umpires. And part of your training now should be given focusing on the ways in which you can keep safe. I can movement when you are at the bowler's end, movement when you are at the striker's end, and it is imperative that you watch the ball. You watch the ball. Never turn your ball eyes back to the ball that is in play. That is the first mistake that you can make. And if you are at the bowler's end, what you should be doing? If you are at the striker's end, this should be imparted to umpires now. I feel your training should. I can hold a whole session telling umpires, bowlers and umpires, and strikers and umpires how they should be moving when you are at striker's end. Whenever a ball is played towards you, generally the tendency of the ball is to go finer, to go finer. I have almost been hit in a Ranji Trophy match. It was, I believe, Services versus JK at Palam, and the fellow swept the ball, got it right in the middle of the bat, and it came to me when I was square leg, and it was coming to me to the right side of my body. The only movement I could make was stick my palm out next to my body, and it came and hit here. And it stung me very badly, but I was not injured. But these things can happen very, very easily. And today, with the modern day bats, it is terrible, absolutely uh, terrible that you should get injured. It shouldn't happen. Now, in the manual for umpires, maybe there is a new chapter how to avoid getting hit while umpiring is an important part of it. Remember, there are many things that umpires can practice in order to minimize the chances of injury through ball impact. You must be conscious of the uh, need for it. I can show you half a dozen videos right away where the umpires have been very badly injured. All right. Now, calling and signaling, of course, your all signals should be clear and loud, and make your call. Uh, your first call is the call of play. I think I mentioned to you that this is the first time that the players see you in action, and the call of play has to be loud and clear. Make this call firmly and in a manner that gives an impression of confidence. Right now, I there are a lot of things I have borrowed from Cricket Australia, which you might find a little too long. I have elaborated on what Cricket Australia does, a physical fitness regime that they have recommended for their own umpires. And you can carry some of it with yourself and do it. I am just glossing over this because it is very long. Match day routine, you have to keep your body loose and follow some small gentle leg swings, game warm up, one lap of the oval, walk around the ground, and standing as players warm up or tracking, learn tracking of the ball. Stretch your key areas like back, hip flexor, hamstrings, gluteals, and calves as a minimum. Do that, and warm up advanced. You can do advanced leg swings. All of these are recommended by Cricket Australia for their umpires. I just picked them up, and post lunch interval, you can do some exercises during the post lunch interval also. And after the game, there can be a brief walk around with your colleagues, ice bath, or contrasting showers, pool, cardiovascular exercises. Now these are all very detailed here. Duties of umpires are all very detailed, which we have discussed from time to time. I'm sure you must have some idea about what your duties are. What are the joint duties of umpires are detailed here in this, and here all the joint duties are listed here. And that sort of brings us to the end of our session. I hope I haven't bored you guys. Yes, that brings us to the end of this PowerPoint presentation. I'll share this PowerPoint presentation with you, and you will find it useful, I think. Adapt some of it to you. Tejas, you're saying something?
No, sir, no, sir. I'm listening to you.
Okay. All right. I just hope that I haven't bored you guys and not imposed on you too much with this monologue. It has been pretty long. But I thought I might include this. I don't always include this PowerPoint presentation in my session, but maybe I should. Maybe I should make it a little smaller and put it there. But that is how it is. So all of you, thank you very much for being with me all these weeks, and and also with your ready questions. I hope I was able to solve your problems and queries. And I'm always available. You people have my WhatsApp number and email. You can always ask me questions, law queries. It will be interesting. Makes retired umpire's life more interesting, so to say. And you people, if you encounter new things, go ahead and ask us. Ask me anytime. You're more than welcome. So this is part of the course, a lifetime support. A lifetime support is part of the course. So anything you have, you face an odd thing, and like I said, then when these things occur, because I'm no longer umpiring, you via you people, the new situations can come up. So that is how it is. I hope that you people liked the course and found it useful, and I hope it will make you better umpires, which I think it should. It's like that. Good luck to all of you then. I'll
Thank
stop the.
you.
If there are any queries, please let me know. Any questions, any queries? I'll share this presentation with you. Go through it in leisure. And but then this thing about injury, I'm very serious about it. I'm very serious about this injury business. Nowadays, the game, the bats and all that are horrible. I found it out first. I found that out first time. Nobody expects to get hurt. First time I found it there in that match that I umpired, and bang, it is coming to me. It had the potential to kill me. It had the potential to kill me. So I told the